The house was too quiet that night. Too still. You know that kind of silence that feels wrong, like something's about to explode? I had just finished loading the last suitcase into the trunk. My daughter, Emily, stood at the top of the stairs, pale as death, holding my wife's laptop like it was a bomb. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "Dad, you need to see this." Now, I walked back inside. And the moment I opened that folder, my entire world cracked like a windshield hit by a hammer. There they were. Photos. Dozens of them. My wife, Jessica, in places she never mentioned, wearing outfits I never saw, in poses no married woman should ever be in with a man who wasn't her husband. And the man? I knew that face better than my own reflection. Tyler. My best friend since college. The godfather of my daughter. In one of the photos, she was straddling him in a hotel bed, making that face she used to make with me when things were still good. Except now, it wasn't for me. She had that same little smirk she used to throw at me when we were young and drunk in the back of my Jeep. Now it looked like mockery. Pure, smug, heartless mockery. I didn't say a word. I just walked over to the living room, plugged in the laptop, and threw those pictures on the big screen. Full 4K betrayal, right there on my wall. "Pack your things," I said to Emily. "We're leaving." "But what about Mom? We'll see if she even notices." We took what mattered. Clothes. Passports. Cash. That ring I gave her on a freezing night in February, right before I proposed? I left it cracked in two on the coffee table. A tiny box next to it, just big enough for a USB stick and a note. I didn't write anything cruel. Just one line. "Now you know that I know." And then we were gone. I thought she'd call within the hour. I expected screaming, sobbing, gaslighting. Some epic performance. But no. Nothing. Not a single damn call. Not a single text. Days passed. Then weeks. Emily wouldn't speak to anyone. I watched her go from a bubbly 15-year-old girl into a shadow. Her eyes didn't sparkle anymore. She stared out windows like she was watching for ghosts. This was supposed to be the age where she dreamed about her first crush. Instead, she'd seen what betrayal looks like up close from her own mother. And me? I was a storm bottled inside a man. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. My brain kept replaying those images like a horror reel. Every night, I imagined Jessica moaning for him, telling him things she used to whisper to me, letting him touch her in ways that were once sacred. And the worst part? I kept asking myself if it was my fault. Was I too boring? Too tired? Did I stop noticing her perfume? Did I forget how to love her the way I used to? It was madness, and I was drowning in it. Until that one night, exactly 31 days after we left. My phone buzzed. Just one message. From Jessica. I didn't want to open it. I stared at it for a long time, my thumb hovering over the screen, heart hammering in my throat. Then I clicked. The moment I read it, my vision blurred. My spine went cold. It said, "Come home. There's something you need to see." That's it. No apology. No explanation. Just that. I showed it to Emily. She didn't speak. But her eyes said it all. "Do not go back there." I should have listened. But I didn't. Because even a betrayed man still wants answers. Even if it destroys him. I told Emily to stay at the motel. She didn't argue. Just gave me that hollow look that kids shouldn't wear, like all the innocence had been bled from her face. I drove back to the house I once called home, where the walls still smelled like her perfume and the hallway light still flickered like I never got around to fixing it. It was quiet, like the night we left, but this time, it felt like walking into a graveyard. I pushed the front door open. There was no sign of Jessica. Just the living room lit in low yellow glow, and a small cardboard box placed right on the coffee table. The same one I had left there, now resealed. Beside it, my wedding ring, still broken, but someone had tried to piece it back together with glue. A pathetic little attempt at repairing what couldn't be saved. And then I saw it. The TV was already on. But instead of the folder I had left open, there was a video playing. Her. Jessica. With Tyler. It wasn't just a photo slideshow this time. No, this was a damn video. He had filmed them. Filmed her. She was laughing, moaning God. It made my stomach twist. Not just because of what she was doing, but how proud she looked. Like she enjoyed humiliating me. Like she wanted the camera to see every moment. And they had done it here. In my home. On my bed. While I was away on a business trip last summer, when she claimed she was having a rough week and needed space. I remembered that call. Her voice sounded distant. Cold. I offered to fly back early. She insisted I shouldn't. Now I knew why. I couldn't breathe. My legs gave out, and I dropped to the floor like I'd been shot. The betrayal felt physical, like someone had taken a crowbar to my ribs. My mind raced, trying to make sense of something that had no logic. I had loved her. I gave her everything. And she chose him? I sat there, shaking, until I heard the click of heels on the hardwood floor. Jessica walked in like nothing happened, wearing a silk robe, hair done, face freshly made up. Her eyes barely glanced at the screen. "Oh," she said, voice casual. "So you finally came." My jaw clenched. "Why?" She smirked. "You didn't answer my texts. Thought this might get your attention." "That's how you get my attention? Playing a damn video of you screwing my best friend." She shrugged. "You left without letting me talk. I figured it's only fair you see what you missed." I stood up, fist shaking. "You did this in our bed, in front of a camera, with Tyler, my best friend. You lied to me, Jessica. And you bored me, David." There it was, like venom to the heart. "You stopped trying. You stopped touching me. I felt invisible. So I made myself visible. You could have talked to me. You could have fought for this. And miss out on real fun." She snapped back. "You think marriage is enough? You think your sad little kisses and your burnt dinners and your tired stories about accounting conferences were going to keep me interested?" I stared at her like I didn't know her anymore. Because I didn't. This wasn't the woman I married. This was something else. Someone else. Cold. Detached. Poisonous. She walked over, grabbed the box, and shoved it into my chest. "Take this and get out." I opened it. Inside was a tiny pink bracelet. Our daughter's. The one Emily wore as a baby. Jessica looked me dead in the eye and said, "Tell Emily I'm done with her too." She took what wasn't hers. That was it. No remorse. No tears. Just pure, unapologetic cruelty. I turned and walked out, gripping that bracelet like a lifeline. I didn't say another word. But in my chest, something began to harden. Something that used to be love. Now turning into something else. I didn't drive straight back to the motel. I parked at the edge of an abandoned lot just outside the city, turned off the engine, and sat there. The bracelet in my hand felt heavier than it should have. I stared at it. Small, pink, worn. Emily had worn it through her toddler years, wouldn't take it off even in the bath. That bracelet had survived scraped knees, birthday parties, and bedtime stories. And Jessica had weaponized it. Like it was nothing. "Tell Emily I'm done with her too." Those words kept echoing. They didn't just hurt, they burned. She wasn't just a bad wife, she was a cruel mother. I had always assumed, no matter how far we drifted, she'd never cut off our daughter. But here we were. The rain started while I sat there, first soft, then heavy, hammering the windshield like bullets. But I didn't move. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, that video came back. Her body pressed against Tyler's. The way she laughed at his stupid jokes. How natural it all looked, as if she had been living a second life this entire time. The betrayal didn't stop at Jessica. No, Tyler had taken the knife and twisted it. That man had been in my life since we were 18. College roommates. Brothers in everything but blood. He gave the toast at my wedding. Carried Emily on his shoulders at the zoo. Hell, he even cried with me the night my father passed. And all the while, he was sneaking into my bed when I wasn't looking. I remembered things differently now. All those little signs. Tyler coming over when I wasn't home. Jessica's sudden spa weekends that always lined up with his days off. That strange pause when I once mentioned installing cameras as a home upgrade. How she changed the subject instantly. I had been blind. Or maybe I didn't want to see. The worst part wasn't just knowing she cheated. It was knowing how long it had gone on. How much of our life had been a lie. I finally drove back around midnight. Emily was still up, curled on the couch with a blanket and a half-empty soda. She didn't ask what happened. Just looked at me with those tired, wary eyes. "She's not coming after us," I said, softly. Emily blinked. I figured. "She said she's done with you too." My daughter didn't cry. Didn't scream. She just nodded like she already knew. She was stronger than me at that moment. But I saw it. That tiny break behind her stare. The beginning of a scar that would never fully heal. I handed her the bracelet. She took it without a word and placed it on the nightstand like it didn't belong on her wrist anymore. "Dad," she said after a long silence, "what are we going to do now?" That question hung in the air like a verdict. What were we going to do? I had spent most of my adult life building a future with Jessica. Every decision, every dollar, every plan, I did it with her in mind. And now I was standing in the aftermath, trying to scrape pieces of myself off the floor while protecting the only innocent person in this mess. Emily needed a father now more than ever, and I needed to become someone who could survive this. We start over, I said. Somewhere new. Somewhere she'll never find us. Emily nodded. She didn't smile, but I saw a flicker of something return to her eyes, something like hope. Little did I know, that night wasn't the end. Jessica had one more surprise for us, and it was going to hit harder than everything before. A week passed. I'd started looking for apartments in another city, somewhere far enough to feel like a new beginning, but not so far that Emily would lose everything familiar. I spent most of my time in silence, researching schools, filling out forms, pretending like starting over at 42 didn't feel like falling from the roof of my own life. Emily was doing her best to pretend, too. She helped pack boxes, sat with me during meals, and asked about things like what kind of dog we might get once we moved. But at night, I'd hear her crying in the shower. I never said anything. I just stood outside the door with my fist clenched and tried to keep myself from punching the wall. It was a Tuesday when everything flipped again. I was dropping off paperwork at a rental office downtown when I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something in my gut said I should. David King, a man's voice asked. Speaking. This is Officer Reynolds with the Brookfield PD. We need you to come down to the station. It's regarding your wife. Every muscle in my body tensed. What about her? I think it's better we speak in person. My first thought was she's dead. My second was she's done something stupid. Turns out, it was the second one. When I got to the station, they handed me a folder. Inside was a police report. A domestic disturbance call made 2 nights ago. Jessica had been found in a hotel, drunk, disoriented, and screaming about how her husband and daughter vanished with everything she owned. According to witnesses, she claimed we'd robbed her. She had filed a formal theft report. She told the police I'd stolen her car, cash, electronics, jewelry, and most outrageously, emotional damages worth over $50,000. She says you fled with your daughter and took her property, the officer said, watching my reaction. I laughed. I actually laughed. She's insane, I said. I left her after finding out she was having an affair. With my best friend. I have evidence. Photos, video, timestamps, everything. We figured something didn't add up, Reynolds replied. That's why we called you. But she's pushing hard. Wants charges filed. Keeps showing up here demanding we do something. I sat back in my chair and closed my eyes. Jessica wasn't done. She didn't just want to hurt me emotionally. She wanted to bury me. Ruin my name. Drag me into court and paint herself the victim. The same woman who couldn't be bothered to call her own daughter after abandoning her was now claiming to be the one who was betrayed. I gave the officer a flash drive with the photos and videos. I explained everything. He nodded, quietly horrified. We'll make sure the report reflects this, he said. You won't be charged. But I'd recommend keeping documentation. She might escalate. Escalate? She already had a flamethrower aimed at my life. When I walked out of that station, I realized something. Jessica wasn't going to stop because she was sorry. She was going to stop when there was nothing left of me to burn. Later that night, I told Emily everything. She called the police, she asked, stunned. Why? Because losing us wasn't enough for her. She wants to destroy us for leaving. Emily stood quietly, then said something I'll never forget. She's not my mom anymore. Those words hit me harder than anything. Because now I knew, for the first time in weeks, I wasn't the only one planning revenge. Emily was too. 2 days after the police station, I came home with takeout. Emily was sitting on the motel bed with her laptop open, eyes locked to the screen with that same intensity one used to see when she was studying for finals. She didn't look up when I walked in. Dad, she said, voice calm but different, colder, sharper. Come here. I want to show you something. I set the bags down and walked over. On the screen was Jessica's Instagram page. She'd unblocked us. For the last month, we hadn't been able to see anything. But now, it was wide open, as if she wanted us to look. New photos, new captions. Jessica in expensive clothes, poolside at a resort I didn't recognize. Holding cocktails, smiling. Some shots were clearly taken by someone else. And then there was one video, her dancing by a fire pit, laughing, with Tyler's reflection caught in the glass behind her. But what stopped me cold was the caption. Starting fresh after the worst betrayal of my life. Left with nothing, but building everything back. Hashtag resilience, hashtag he cheated first. I nearly crushed the mouse in my hand. She's flipping the story, I muttered. Publicly. Emily clicked a few tabs and pulled up a YouTube video, one Jessica had uploaded herself. A 10-minute monologue titled, When They Break You, You Rebuild. She looked like she'd rehearsed it. Hair done, makeup flawless, lighting perfect. She sat on a couch with a tissue in one hand and sniffled as she told the world how her husband abandoned her, how he manipulated their daughter, and how she was left traumatized by years of emotional neglect and lies. I trusted him, she said on camera. I really did. And then I found out he had been using me, lying to me for years. I guess I was too blind to see it. But now, I'm not scared anymore. The comments were full of strangers calling her brave, inspiring, a true survivor. Emily slammed the laptop shut. I can't watch another second, she said through gritted teeth. She's disgusting. I nodded. My blood felt like it was boiling. She wants to control the narrative, I said. Make sure no one ever sees her as the villain. Emily stared at me. Then we make sure they do. I looked at her, unsure of what she meant. She turned the laptop back on and opened a new document. I'm going to write the truth, she said. Everything. From my side. What I saw. What I felt. What she did. And I'm posting it. Emily. She wants to go public? Fine. Let's go public. But we'll do it smart. We won't curse. We won't insult. We'll just tell it like it is. With proof. I was stunned. This was my daughter, the same girl who used to cry when she saw roadkill, now talking like a lawyer preparing for war. You sure you want to do this? She nodded. I need to. She left me, Dad. She chose him. She made her bed. Now she can lie in it. So we started gathering everything. Photos. Screenshots. Chat logs. The video I'd left playing on the TV? I had saved it all. Emily organized it into folders, labeled each one like a trial exhibit. We recorded a statement together. She spoke. I stood behind her. We didn't cry. We didn't scream. We told the truth, and we told it clearly. And when we posted it, it exploded. Thousands of views overnight. People shared it, commented, messaged us. Some were shocked. Some were furious. And some even started digging deeper, finding old posts Jessica had deleted, spotting inconsistencies in her stories. The next morning, Jessica's profile went private. And I knew, without a doubt, we'd hit her where it hurt. But what I didn't expect was what came next. Because the day after our video went viral, Jessica showed up, in person, at the motel, with a camera crew. I heard the knock before I saw them. 3 rapid pounds on the door, then silence. I peeked through the peephole, expecting maybe a delivery or hotel staff. What I saw instead nearly made me laugh from disbelief. Jessica, wearing a crisp white blazer, oversized sunglasses, and a smirk that said I'm still winning. Beside her stood a woman holding a camera, and behind that woman, a man with a microphone clipped to his shirt and a clipboard in hand. The van outside had a logo, Heartbreak and Healing, Real Stories. A reality show. I opened the door slowly. Jessica took off her sunglasses dramatically, like she was stepping onto a movie set. David. Finally. I've come to give my side. You already gave your side, I snapped. To the internet. With lies. This is different, she said, stepping forward, motioning to the camera crew. This is closure. For both of us. The camera woman lifted her device. Is it okay if we film inside? No. Then we'll just capture ambient reaction now. You're not filming my daughter. You're not filming this door. You're not filming anything. Jessica waved her hand. Relax, it's just a little publicity. You've already made your video. You made me look like a monster. I laughed bitterly. You did that all by yourself. She stepped closer. I could smell her perfume, the same one she used to wear when we go dancing in our 20s. That familiar scent that once made me feel at home, now reeked of poison. You want to play dirty? She whispered, voice suddenly low and icy. You think people believe your little sob story? Let's see how long you last when I take this to court. You're threatening custody now? I asked. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. I'm threatening everything. I took a step back and slammed the door shut. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but rage. Pure, white-hot rage. She had crossed the line. Again. Emily was already standing in the room, clutching her phone. I saw them, she said. I filmed from the window. We have proof she came here with a film crew trying to ambush us. I nodded. Good. We'll need it. We sat down and rewatched the footage she caught. Jessica's smug face, the cameraman scanning the hallway, the mic guy holding up the slate like this was some twisted documentary. All of it, recorded. I called my lawyer that night. We talked once before, but this time I laid it all out. The affair, the video, the false police report, the online smear campaign, and now the in-person ambush with a production crew. I want full custody, I told him. And I want it airtight. He didn't hesitate. We'll get it. But brace yourself, she's unhinged. That kind of narcissism doesn't go quietly. The next morning, I filed for divorce. No more waiting. No more hesitation. I had let my feelings tangle me up long enough. She'd already set fire to our marriage. I was done standing in the smoke. Emily hugged me after I came back from the courthouse. So that's it, she asked. No, I said. That's the beginning. Because now, we were done reacting. It was time to fight back on our terms. The day of the court hearing felt colder than it should have. It wasn't the weather, it was the silence in the courtroom lobby. That heavy kind of quiet, like the universe was holding its breath, waiting to see who would crack first. Emily sat beside me, dressed in a simple black blouse and jeans, holding her folder like a shield. Her hands trembled slightly, but her jaw was locked. I had never seen my daughter this focused. Not during school exams, not at recitals. This was different. This was war. Jessica arrived 15 minutes late. Of course. She strutted into the courtroom like it was a stage. High heels, white pencil dress, oversized sunglasses perched on her head. And Tyler? He followed behind her, wearing a suit that looked like he borrowed it last minute from someone 2 sizes smaller. They didn't speak to us. Didn't even glance our way. But I could feel her smirk aimed right at my chest. The judge was a gray-haired woman named Judith Klein. Sharp eyes. No time for theatrics. Let's begin, she said. Custody, defamation, and spousal misconduct. Mr. King, your counsel has filed several exhibits. My lawyer stood up, calm, methodical. One by one, he presented everything. First, the photos. Then the messages. Then the video, censored and timestamped, played without sound but clear enough to make the courtroom shift uncomfortably in their seats. Jessica didn't flinch. Not once. Tyler looked like he wanted to melt through the floor. Then came the final blow, Emily's recorded testimony. A 4-minute video where she spoke directly to the judge, explaining in her own words what she saw, what she felt, and why she didn't feel safe with her mother anymore. I love my mom, she said at the end, but I can't trust her. She didn't just cheat on my dad. She betrayed me. She left me behind. There was a long silence when it ended. Jessica finally stood up to speak, calm and fake as ever. Your Honor, she began, this is an emotional teenager reacting to a difficult family situation. I was neglected for years, emotionally mistreated. Where's your evidence of that? The judge asked sharply. Jessica blinked. I don't have physical documents, but you filed a false police report. You attempted to involve a reality TV crew in what should be a private family matter. You attempted public defamation of your husband online. And you brought your lover into the courtroom today, who, if I may point out, is at the center of this entire mess. Jessica opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Judge Klein leaned back and adjusted her glasses. This court finds in favor of Mr. King. Full custody is awarded to the father. Visitation rights are suspended until the mother undergoes court-mandated therapy and family reconciliation counseling. Jessica froze. Tyler stood up like he was about to say something, then sat right back down. Me? I didn't celebrate. I didn't smile. I just exhaled, like I'd been holding my breath for a month straight. As we walked out of the courtroom, Jessica tried to follow us. David, she called, voice cracked. Please. I turned once. Not out of pity. Not because I cared. But because I wanted her to see it. Me, walking away, holding Emily's hand, leaving her behind, where she belonged. A liar. A manipulator. A woman who destroyed everything she touched and lost the only thing that ever mattered because of it. Her family. She stood on those courthouse steps and watched us fade down the street. And for the first time since all this began. She looked small. 3 weeks after the court ruling, we moved. A modest apartment 2 cities away, nothing flashy, but clean, quiet, and far from everything that reminded us of her. Emily picked the room by the window. I didn't argue. She needed the light more than I did. We settled into a rhythm. Mornings with cereal and silence. Evenings with movies neither of us watched all the way through. And in between, school for her, work for me. It wasn't happiness. Not yet. But it was peace. Until the box arrived. No note. No return address. Just a plain, square package sitting outside our new door like a ghost from the past. Emily found it first. She called me over, eyebrows tense. Did you order something? No, I said. Did you? She shook her head. I picked it up, light, maybe the size of a shoebox. I didn't open it right away. Something about it felt wrong. Too intentional. Too quiet. Inside, under layers of tissue paper, was our old wedding album. But it had been altered. The cover was slashed across the middle, like someone had taken a box cutter to it. Half the pages were missing. And the ones that remained? Red marker had been scribbled over my face in every photo. Big, angry XS. One of them had liar written across my forehead in thick letters. There was also a USB drive taped to the back page. I knew better. I should have thrown it away. But curiosity is a dangerous thing when you've been hurt. I plugged it into my laptop. At first, it looked like a letter. A video. Jessica sitting in a hotel room, talking to the camera, her hair messy, her makeup smudged. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. She started with a whisper. You took everything from me. Then the rambling began. No structure. No logic. You poisoned her against me. You used her as a weapon. You made me look insane. You made me look like a villain. But you always were the villain, David. You bored me. You never saw me. You stopped being a man. I should have stopped there. But I didn't. She reached off camera, pulled something into frame. A ring box. She opened it slowly, theatrically. Inside wasn't a ring. It was her wedding ring, snapped clean down the middle, sitting next to a key. A small silver key I immediately recognized, the one to our old safety deposit box. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Go ahead, she said. Open it. Find out what else I took from you. The screen went black. That was the last thing on the drive. I shut the laptop and sat back in my chair, pulse thudding in my ears. What was she playing it now? Emily walked in from the kitchen. What was it? I looked at her, hesitated, then closed the lid on the laptop. Trash, I said. Just more trash. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. The key. The box. What had she left there? What else had she stolen? I didn't tell Emily, but the next morning, I went to the bank. The manager pulled the old file. We hadn't accessed that box in almost 2 years. I handed over the key. My heart pounded like I was opening a tomb. Inside, there were only 2 things. A flash drive. And a folded letter with my name on it. I didn't open either. Not yet. Because suddenly, I wasn't sure I wanted the answers anymore. Some betrayals are sharp and loud. Others sit in silence and rot from the inside. But I knew this. Jessica's game wasn't over. And I had a choice to make. Burn the evidence and let it die. Or open the final door and face the last truth.